What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Observant Lineman. I am your Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri. Now, obviously, there has been earth-shaking news in the sports world in regards to the untimely passing of Kobe Bryant and his young daughter, as well as 7 others who were involved in a helicopter crash. I just want to start this video out by sending out my condolences and my well wishes to his family and to the families of everybody who was affected by this tragedy. And I think it brings a bit of perspective to the simple fact that life is precious and that we never know when our time will come. And I think that that's important for many reasons in our daily lives, and that, you know, things really aren't as serious as we make them out to be. Our troubles, our little insignificant squabbles that we have with people or with, you know, things that we deal with on a daily basis, you know, it's really not that serious. And so with all that being said, I want to turn our attention to this news coming out of Jacksonville, Florida. This does affect me personally because, as you guys probably know, I played 7 years in the NFL, and I played all 7 of those years as a Jacksonville Jaguar. But news has been coming out of Duval County, and this is through ESPN. The ex-Jaguar safety Donovin Darius was arrested on suspicion of DUI, and he was hospitalized. And I think that that second part, even though DUI is absolutely a serious situation to deal with, I do think that the second part, being that he was hospitalized, the story behind that is something that is very alarming and something that needs to be paid attention to as well. So let's go through this article real quickly. Former Jacksonville Jaguar safety Donovin Darius was arrested and charged with driving under the influence on Sunday afternoon, according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Darius, 44, was then taken to a Jacksonville hospital for a mental health evaluation after telling rescue workers he had ingested 20 to 30 pills and that he was suicidal, according to a law enforcement source. Police and rescue units that responded to a vehicle crash at 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday found Darius disoriented in the driver's seat of his car. He was placed in an ambulance, which is when he told rescue workers he had taken the pills, the source said. Police found 2 pill bottles in Darius's car, but were unable to conduct a field sobriety test because Darius was unable to stand on his own and had very, very slurred speech, per the source. Darius was hospitalized under the Florida Mental Health Act of 1971, which allows involuntary institutionalization and examination of an individual for up to 72 hours if that individual is suspected of having mental illness or is in danger of harming themselves or others. And just going down further here, it says Darius was absentee booked into the jail and charged with misdemeanor DUI. No court date has been set. He was a 25th overall pick in '98 and played 9 seasons for the Jaguars. Obviously, this guy is an individual who is very well known in Jacksonville. I knew about Donovin Darius when I got to Jacksonville. You know, he was present around the team from time to time while I was in Jacksonville, and he was always looked up to as you know, an individual who was strong in his faith, an individual who was strong in his mental toughness, and an individual who was very much, you know, seemed to be in control of, you know, his life post football. And again, guys, you know, this all comes back to the simple fact that when we are done playing this sport, when we hang up the cleats, and, you know, maybe this doesn't necessarily just apply to football, but in my situation, I'm going to talk about football. When we hang up the cleats, there is a transition. There is it's almost like there's a death of a part of who you are, right? And you transition into a new life. And I'm not saying that necessarily is a cause for him to have had, you know, this trouble that he's having. What I'm saying is, with the way that the sport is played, with the violence that it's been played with for 100 years, with what we know about the effects of head trauma, with what we know about how our time as athletes can affect our life after football. This here is a clear sign of part of that. And this is only a piece of the picture. We don't know what's going on in Donovan's life. We don't know what issues or what stresses he's dealing with. I'm not even gonna speculate. But when a man has crashed his car at 10 a.m. and has ingested 20 to 30 pills and tells people he's suicidal, this is a cry for help, obviously. This is maybe he was trying to take his own life. He had taken 20 to 30 pills. There was something wrong there, and there needs to be, this is something that needs to be looked into a lot more deeply than just the DUI. And this is where I point back at the NFLPA. This is where I look back at the NFL Players Association, because these guys claim to want to help and protect and help transition players who have finished the sport, players who are now retired. And if you look at the actions of the NFLPA, there's just nothing to support that. And Donovin Darius is another example of a player who has fallen on hard times for whatever reasons they may be, and is now in a position where he would rather die than continue on and to fight forward to try and improve his life. What does that mean? All these programs that they say they have, it's bullshit. They don't have programs that are worth anything for players who are in the situations like Donovin Darius is here. He ingested 20 to 30 pills. He's been retired for a while, for many years. And this is not something that just pops up out of the blue. This is a guy of strong faith. This is a guy of strong convictions. This is a guy who was held up on a pedestal to us players when we look back at the great players in Jaguar history when I was a player. And to see that, you know, he is now in this situation, it saddens me, because to get to this point, he's already went through the channels that the NFLPA provides for players. They don't do anything. I can tell you that firsthand. But this guy is in a situation where his life is literally on the line. Donovan, look, man, I know it's hard right now. Just take it one day at a time, brother. You know, I know it's a struggle, but one day at a time, one step at a time. And I'm hoping that, you know, there's help that will be brought to you from people who know what they're doing. You know, all I can say as a player, as a former player, is that I understand that it can be hard when you get done with the sport. I understand that. And there's a lot of things that factor into that. It's not just financial. It's not just, you know, relationships. It's not just those things. And part of that trouble and part of those struggles has to do with the sport we played. Has to do with the sport we played. So I really look at this situation, and I look at, you know, how, you know, obviously this is not something that's going to be covered on the same respect as what we know happened to Kobe Bryant. This is, you know, a player who is still here, thankfully, and is, you know, struggling, but we're hoping that he can get the help that he needs. But I just wanted to bring this article to light because it's just another example of what the NFLPA claims that they're doing, but they don't do to help guys who are in these kinds of situations. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Remember, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you like this video, please hit the like button as well. That helps me on the YouTube algorithm. I'm your observer lineman, Uche Nwaneri, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.